No.
Yes, it is. Recording's in progress, gang. Hey, how you doing? This is the future.
Unfortunately.
Fuck. Damn right. Hey, everybody. That's Alex Rios. I'm Tony G. Welcome to the show.
Come on.
Happy friggin' Halloween. I mean, it's upon us. It's coming. It's almost here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited and scared at the same time. That's total
Spooky.
bullshit. I'm not. That doesn't freak me out. Actually, fun fact, I figured out something that does scare my old man.
Oh yeah, what is it?
Well, this is how my father communicates. He tells my mother what he wants to do, and then my mom tells me. So he said he wanted to do something for Halloween, like go to an amusement park or a haunted house, because amusement parks decorate themselves to be haunted houses. So anyway, he wants to do something fun like that. And I said, I was thinking of ideas, and we were at the gym together today, and I was like, hey man, I was like, I know you want to do something, like we could go to Eastern State Penitentiary, and that's in one of the first prisons in the country. Al Capone was housed there. They do tours there, like you can listen to the headset. Steve Buscemi does the audio. Pretty interesting.
Whoa, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I like that shit. I really like that shit. And they do a haunted house. And years ago, took my daughter, my cousin took us, and the line was 5 hours long. No shit. And this was pre-pandemic, but holy fuck, like I felt famous walking past this 4-hour line on a Wednesday night. Fuck this. So I heard it's going again this year. So I told my dad, I was like, we can go to Eastern State Penitentiary. And I've never seen him do this. He was like, nah, no, like hard no. I've never seen, my dad doesn't usually do a hard no, except when I was a kid. He said no to me for everything. But now it was just a hard no. Like, not like you're an asshole for bringing it up. Just like, he didn't even say why. He just said, those places just freak me out. I'm just like, I mean, yeah, I get it. I don't want to be in a cage either, but you're on the right side of the, the door.
Yeah. You don't have to stay there. Yeah, you can go home.
Yeah, you don't have to get in a cell or anything. I mean, but in all fairness, if you don't like prisons, then you really won't like people fucking with you in a prison for a haunted house. And this is one of those, at least before the pandemic, you could put I probably talked about this in another show, but you put a glow stick necklace on, and that would tell the people who work there, we can fuck with you. And I saw them. I did not wear a necklace. I don't like being touched even when I'm fucking, let alone just hanging out. I don't like people putting their hands on me. So I wasn't going to do that with ghosts and goblins. They would grab people, like put them on a stretcher and shit, and like tape them down, like tie them down, and it was kind of funny. And then they throw them in this pit, and it was a slide. It wasn't anything too bad, but he wasn't into that shit at all. And I haven't got a hard no out of him for anything fun in a long time. It was just really funny to see that. And then I flashed back to, like, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, we were in San Francisco. I met up with them, and I had Jessie with me. She was like 3. And we were standing down at the bay, wherever, at the Fisherman's Wharf, wherever it is, where everybody hangs out. And you could see Alcatraz. And I was like, oh, hot, me. Come on, let's go do that right now. Come on, let's go. Yeah. And my parents are like, no. I'm like, the fuck? And I look at Jessie, and I'm like, hey, do you want to go? And I just pulled a lollipop out of my pocket. I'm like, do you want to go to prison? And she's like, yeah. I saw that movie, The Rock. It was my time and place. So I was like, there might be some shit. Let's go check it out. And no, they still haven't gone to fucking Alcatraz either. What's wrong, people? It's a prison.
How come nobody will let you go to prison? How come no one will let you go to prison?
I don't want to go to prison. I just like to see shit. Look, he writes jokes. I write jokes. I'm bored as shit. I'm sure Alex gets bored. That's just something to see. And maybe there's a piece of material in there. If nothing else, I went to Alcatraz, or I went to this shitty prison,
Yeah.
And if anything, it's a reminder. Hey, don't drive home high and drunk. You're in a prison right now. You don't want to be on the other side of those bars. I mean, whatever. It's okay to have a reality check. Okay, so I get it. So people don't like prisons. I'm still going to fucking Alcatraz, and they're not reopening it, so I'm only going as a visitor. I have no goals to get locked up or incarcerated permanently.
I've been into 3 different prisons inside of them. 3 different prisons.
Are they still active?
Yeah.
Tell us more, Alex.
I've been in 3 different prisons in 3 different countries.
All right, keep going.
I like doing this in parts though. I like stopping and letting you hear it all.
Oh, you're doing good. I'm like you're feeding the reader.
I went to the Salem prison a long time ago with our friend's band, Larry and his Flask, when they were still an electric band. They went and played in the yard.
Right.
And we had a friend who at the time was doing time in the prison.
Yeah.
And he kind of hooked the whole thing up. And I went with them, like as like a stage hand. And at that time I kind of went everywhere with them. So yeah. So yeah, we went in that I went into that prison with them, and it was cool. They well, cool, but also kind of like a reality of being like, wait, this is kind of scary in a way. So they made us all wear orange vests, you know? And then like I remember asking, not me, someone asked a prisoner, they're like, they were like, because there was like a prisoner that was kind of like, you know, a good behavior prisoner that was kind of like with us and showing us around and kind of like being our like, you know, guide or whatever. And somebody, one of the members of Larynx Flask or somebody was like, hey, how come we're wearing these? They made us wear them. They want to tell us why. And he's like, well, that's just in case there's a riot person up there that knows who not to shoot.
Yep.
They're like, oh, that's crazy.
Can I get another one?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Have another one? We get 2?
Alex has an orange diaper on.
Yeah. So they were playing, and I sat on the stage, like side stage, when they were actually playing, and then they had like, you know, like a little rope barrier and guards that were like 20, it was like 20 feet from the stage, you know, so the prisoners couldn't come super close, and they had to just stand there. They couldn't like, you know, rock out or mosh or anything. They were like, it was very strict. And I'm like, I'm looking out into the audience, the people, the prisoners, and then I see, you know, our friend, and then yeah, like he's like fucking like trying to like not, he's trying to not hold, like he's holding himself back a little bit, trying not to like rock out too hard so he doesn't get kicked out. And then I'm kind of looking at all the people, and I see this fucking gnarly dude just with a big swastika tattooed on his stomach, smiling at us. Just, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, oh shit, we know him. That's the guy that punched the drummer.
Is that why he was in there?
Yeah, he used to kick our ass. And and I'm like, that's not why he's in there, but he used to fuck with us, and we always like,
told you, fucker.
No, he's in there for fucking, and there was always like a, you know, like us versus the Nazis growing up, and he was older. He's probably like in his late 30s at the time, probably older than us, I mean. And he's just laughing and like smiling, and he's just like if he could, he would like fuck, like, you know. I'm like, I kind of like nudge, I think, who, I don't say anyone's saying, just nudge someone, like one of the members, and just was like, he's like, and then he kind of was like, you know, like, oh fuck. It was just like this weird thing, like, oh man, that's that guy.
Like, here's another vest.
Yeah, and he's just, you know, he's got his shirt off, you know, he took his fucking shirt off, and he's got this big swastika, you know, tattooed on his stomach. And like, well, good thing we got these fucking vests.
You could have fucked with that guy when it's all over. Be like, one seat in the van. Who wants to come? Just kidding, fucker.
Right. So I've been in prison in the States, in Salem. And then when I was 13, I went on like a missions trip, you know, with my parents' church to Mexico. And I went and was in Mexican prison.
Fuck.
And so this is another story. Like, a little longer maybe. So, and I might have even told this. Did I tell on this show that talk about us going to Mexico, and we traveled to Mexico because we were performing a play. Our youth group was performing a play all over Mexico.
I don't know about the Mexico. No, I mean, I'm interested. Fuck it, go ahead.
So I just hate. I feel like sometimes I tell the same fucking story 2 or 3 times. But anyway, who gives a shit? So the youth group I was in at the time, my parents' church, I was 12 or 13. And so we traveled from Terrebonne, Oregon to Mexico, and we drove a bus. Not we had a bus driver. Mm-hmm. And we drove all the way to Mexico, and we drove we traveled through Mexico. We didn't go all the way through, but we were on the road for about a month, and I think, and so we were performing. We were on tour, basically. We were on tour and traveling to different churches in Mexico, performing a play. And the play we were performing is basically the resurrection of Jesus Christ and how he died and all that. So we the play was about the guy that played Jesus was our bus driver. And it was all about how Jesus got hung on the cross and then rose however many days later or whatever. And guess who I played? I was the executioner. Oh. I killed our bus driver every night for about 2.5, 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
I killed our ride.
That is fucking wild.
Let's put it this way. We traveled all through Mexico, a very religious, Catholic, very, very religious community, like Mexicans are highly religious people. So we traveled through Mexico, and I just decided that I would kill their Lord and Savior in front of them every night. So we went to prison, and I killed Jesus in front of people named Jesus that have killed Jesus. You know what I'm saying? What
the fuck? I haven't heard this story. That's crazy, man. That's really wild. Fuck, what do people get up to?
Yeah, man,
God damn. I haven't done shit with my life. You're over here riding a bus to Mexican prisons and killing your bus driver?
Yeah. And the third prison I've been to was an African prison. I went to Africa when I was a sophomore in high school.
The fuck?
Yeah, no, I have that.
That I've been to Africa?
Yeah, I went to Uganda for 3 weeks.
What?
Yeah. It was with I stopped going to church and believing in white Jesus when I was 15. And it was right after the Africa trip is when I stopped believing. Like on the way back home, I was like,
did you meet a different colored Jesus?
Yeah. Well, so we went to Africa.
Said white Jesus as if there's a different Jesus that showed up and convinced you otherwise.
Well, what I mean by that is if Jesus was real and God, the whole thing, if that's all real, Jesus is not a white bearded dude. You know what I mean? Wearing fucking flip-flops and going on hikes and shit. That's not who Jesus was. All Jesus is probably a fucking
Nubian
person of color. You know, maybe he probably had a beard. Sure, that part's probably real, but he's definitely not a white dude wearing flip-flops and chewing bubble gum. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, it sounds like it was pretty hot where he was. I'm sure he at least had a tan, whoever he was.
And he's in the fucking Middle East, you know? That's what I mean. I don't believe in this white Jesus that America wants you to believe in, you know, and I'm not a religious person is what I'm really getting at. So we traveled to Africa for another missions trip. Mm-hmm. And at that point, on the way to Africa, I was super into, like, you know, I was like really, I was a believer. I was a super Christian kid, but I was still like smoking pot and skateboarding and getting in the fights and doing the whole thing, and that kind of thing. And but I went there on a mission trip. We went there to help build an orphanage and a school. Did a lot of crazy things, met a lot of people.
Right.
Helped build a 75-foot well into the ground, like for drinking water. And they were digging it by hand, 2 dudes with a pickaxe and a shovel.
Damn.
70 to 80 feet into the ground. Intense.
Well, good thing you guys showed up, I guess. Fuck.
Well, they were doing it all. And they finished it before we left too.
Oh, you guys didn't help them dig that thing?
Yeah, a little bit, but it was really dangerous the way they were doing it, because they just had like a pulley system, and then they had a bucket about.
Sure.
Then they would just dig,
and fill up the bucket up, throw out the dirt,
send it back down. So imagine, you know.
That's deep though. That shit caves in, you're done.
Yep. Like imagine digging 75 to 80 feet down into the earth with only using a pickaxe, 1 shovel, a pulley system with a 5-gallon bucket on it.
Nope.
Doing that. And they did it.
Nope.
So, long story short, basically, I've been to an African prison. We went to Africa prison to talk about white Jesus to these people. And yeah, that's what happened. So I've been to 3 prisons.
You see, in America, our God is the color of ice cream.
Yep.
Vanilla. It's fucking crazy. Anyway.
It's like, I mean, like, that's what like like this Christian nation is like taught us to, like, Jesus is white, he's got a beard, you know. And his daddy's is God, you know what I mean? Like fuck you.
Yeah. That's fucking rad though. That I had no idea.
Yeah. So I've been to 3 prisons.
That's awesome. That's great, man. That's and none of which were you forced to be in. That's a fucking positive, man. Yeah. That was, a good job. You never had numbers on your back. That's good.
No.
That's fucking funny. So
yeah, man. It's crazy.
So yeah, we're not going to so we're not going to go to a haunted prison for Halloween, but
yes, sorry.
Dad, we're going to a haunted Mexican prison. Okay.
Yeah.
Get your passport out. I'm gonna fuck with him now. Like, we're going to a prison in Africa. I have to ask you, like, you probably didn't see, like, or maybe you don't remember, but like, do you remember like a difference in the conditions? Like, because you were young, did it stand? I'm sure it stood the fuck out. If you noticed, they're drastically different than what American
like
an American prison. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Totally different.
It's the African prison was probably the worst. They basically lived in stalls, like for like that looked like you wouldn't want to even to put like have an animal live there, like a horse.
Right.
And it was just like they were basically living in their own filth.
Yeah.
And like, it was fucking that was really bad. I don't think they had any clean drinking water. Like, it was pretty rough shit, Damn. And the Mexican prison wasn't as bad, still not great. I think no one had cells. There was just like people were piled into like a room and behind like, chain link fences,
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, this is gonna sound bad, but I remember the smell of it and it not just being pleasant.
Right.
Then the American prison, it was everything that you see in a prison documentary. There's a yard, they have, basketball hoops and people working out outside, and it looked like if a prisoner in Africa would see this prison, they'd probably be like, oh, this isn't prison, we just want to live here forever. This is
right.
Nice.
Yeah, TV time and shit. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's definitely like that.
Fuck.
I got one funny story about the Mexican prison, and then we can move on. But all right. So we were just getting there to the Mexican prison, and we had to take an elevator to get to like the main, like, because like the way it was weird how it was built. It was like you had to take an elevator to get like outside. The building went in the ground kind of, and then you had to like take an elevator, and then you go in this other area, and then there was that yard, and then the outside. It was a very weird area. So we had to go down to like get clearance and everything, and then we had to go back up to the main floor and then go out to the yard. And we had all this stuff, like props for the play, like robes, part of a cross, you know.
Right.
My fucking hood that I would wear for the executioner and whatever, like bins. And me and my friend Cody, at the time we were carrying, we had like we were like 13, 12-year-old kids, you know, so we had like all these like robes and shit all over us, and we had our hands full, and we were carrying this, and we were in the elevator. It was him and I in an elevator, very small elevator with two guards, two Mexican guards, and they both had like fucking M16s, and they were smiling. They were just like,
right.
And I was carrying like a radio that had batteries in it, and it was like we had that to play like our, like, you know, music, like when he died, done like fucking serious music, like he's gonna die music, and then like when he resurrected, like, pretty little birds, like, you know, so that kind of, we had like a couple tapes or CDs. And so we had all this shit, and I had the stereo like this, the little boombox thing, and I must have hit play or on, and it was on full blast to a Mexican radio station. So just picture two like kids, two teenagers with all this shit, kind of scared already, and then all of a sudden hits the on button, Mexican radio, and all of a sudden the guards just go and starts yelling at Spanish at us and pointing guns at us. They're like, and we're like, and then they stop. They stop, look us up and down, and then start laughing because they realize what happened.
Holy shit.
And then they just go, and they're pointing and laughing at us, and we're just like, oh shit, my pants.
Yeah, you got water running down your leg, man. Holy fuck. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I need to go back to the bus. I need to change. That was.
No wonder you're wise beyond your fucking years. You saw death at 12 years old. Oh my god. You almost died in a Mexican prison before you even old enough to be in a Mexican prison.
Yeah. Just like the radio just full blast on a Mexican radio station, and then these guards just pointing guns and yelling in Spanish at us, and we're just like, oh, don't kill us.
By the time you get to the top, all four of you are clapping and dancing and shit, drinking fucking beer.
And then they just paused, looked us up and down, and just fucking died. They just were laughing so hard. Like, we were still just like.
That was great. That's a great story, man. I pictured that whole damn thing. That was great.
Man. So yeah,
nice.
I'm sorry, I didn't know I was going to talk about prison stories.
We don't know. This shit ain't scripted. This is great. Yeah, I love this shit. We just landed on a 20-minute nugget. That was awesome. They say this shit's hard. Come on.
Come on.
Oh my god, that's fucking funny. I don't even have it. I mean, I don't even know if I've ever. The only time I've been to jail was to pick people up I knew, man. That's God's honest truth.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I told the story how one day I was in the military and we got selected for van duty, and I had to drive a guy to prison, and that was really weird. Basically, you assigned van duty for 24 hours, so you do whatever you're told, and they needed to take a guy. A guy got convicted of a fellow Marine got convicted and sentenced to military prison, And so we were waiting out front for him in the van. And there was a couple of, I don't know who the other people were. They were, senior rank. They were above me. I was just a bitch driving the van. And they had, the one had a pistol, and the other one had an M16, and he came out handcuffs, ankle cuffs, the whole nine. It was a non-violent crime, but he's fucked. He's probably still in prison.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty damn sure. It doesn't matter. He ripped the military off fucking big time. That's what he was doing. He was in supply, and he was supplying himself instead of the military. He was selling shit that they were bringing in. Long story short.
Oh, wow.
So he was going to prison for a long time. And the thing is I was in Hawaii, and everything that the Marine Corps has is pretty much the Navy's. The Navy owns all the big versions of everything. There are doctors. Marine Corps doesn't have their own doctors. And when it comes to you fucking up or any of that, it's the Navy. You go to the Navy base to be incarcerated. So the thing with me is I'm a total fucking goofball. So I'm always worried. I'm just thinking to myself, what if I crash the van? What if I flip over? He won't have to go to jail anymore. We'll all be dead. That's the shit that's going through my mind when I'm just driving. I'm like, these guys have loaded weapons. If I do something wrong, I'm going to shot in the back of the head by accident. So the whole time I'm just trying to focus on this fucking highway, and we're going up and over. And the guy's just like, he's like looking out the windows, and I'm looking at him instead of the road. I'm like, fuck, he's going to jump out. This is going to be crazy. Like, I'd jump out. Why wouldn't he jump out? You know what I mean? Right. He's going away. And the whole time, because it's me, I was thinking, you should talk to this guy, calm him down. And there's another devil on the other shoulder saying, shut the fuck up. Like, don't say anything. And I just remember looking over, and I was like, I opened my mouth like a puppet. I was like, and I looked at the guy next to me with the rifle, and I was like, just like, whoop, nope, bad timing. And we pulled up, and honestly, this is the most unexciting story that I have. We pulled up, we went to this totally other end of the Navy base, Pearl Harbor. And I just remember pulling up there, and they told me that we backed in and everything, and there's people standing there with loaded weapons. And I was just like, so I just sit here, and then like the one senior guy he's like, remember how you were quiet the whole ride here? I was like, yeah. He's like, keep doing that. I was like, gotcha. And so then we're leaving, and I was like, I was just here last week. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, buddy of mine. He's fucking, and they're looking at me and they're like, we're not your friends. You probably shouldn't say this. And I was like, just fucking with you. Want to get something to eat? I'm driving. Obviously, fuck. But I had just been there the week before because my friend took a bunch of PCP, and he literally like outran. Anyway, listen. I make friends with everyone wants to make friends with me. Okay, I don't know if you're a drug addict until after we're friends. So that's how it usually works. So yeah, this guy was strung out on PCP. He fought a couple people, but he stole a cab. That was the big thing. He stole a cab, and instead of like running away, he was taking fares. Like he was
really?
Yeah, it was kind of like Mike Rowe, before Mike Rowe. It was like, what's it like to have a shitty job for a day? But he was on PCP. And so then they got busted. The cars, everything, like the car got surrounded. They caught the guy in the middle. It was on the Waikiki Strip. And he was so revved up that they had him, and they're like, put your hands up. And he's like, you can't fuck with me. I'm super strong. And he just like grabs the bumper of the cab and like rips the bumper, not all the way off, but like, like they kind of like turned the bumper up, like that. Just,
yeah. Cool.
And I know this because after I heard all this shit, I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I was doing PCP somewhere else. Just kidding. But in any case, we went to prison to see this guy, to the same place. And I was like, this is weird. And then so talking to him, he tells us the story. And he's like kind of whispering it to us because he's not supposed to admit guilt or whatever. But he was like, yeah, I did that. I ripped the bumper up and all this stuff. And I was just like, damn, dude. I was like, you're not strong. Like, does that shit really work? And he's like, oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. We just had this positive conversation about PCP for 20 minutes. The problem is that when you're in prison, apparently they always, they check you for drugs and all your crevices. And so I thought they were joking, but when we left, when we were done talking to him, they had heard what he said. And so they're like, oh, so you want to have a conversation about drugs, huh? Like, go over into that room. And he just looked at me, he's like, fuck, here we go again. And so like, oh, he's getting a finger in his ass. Well, we're going to get Burger King. This is crazy. And so every week for like a month, we went and fucked with this guy and just went to visit him. He didn't ask us to come see him. We just went to see him because we know that was happening to him in and out. Like every time, twice. Every time we saw him. Like, hey man, how you doing? Brought her smiles.
Yeah, it's time for you to.
Remember when you forgot to pay us back for that PCP? Well, hey,
Yeah. We're getting our payback in entertainment. That's what we're doing right now.
Oh God, yeah. So that's really. And then another time I was dating a chick, and at the Central Oregon jail, I thought she was a good broad. Coworker hooked me up. She was all right until I found out she was wanted. And so she got busted. And I'm a nice guy. So she needed shoes. So I bought her some shoes. And I just thought it was so weird. Like she came out of the jail with no shoes on. I was just like, she's like, hey, could you bring me some shoes? I'm like, yeah, I'll get you some fucking shoes. Why not? She didn't have any. Like they didn't. I was like, how the fuck do you not have shoes? Like there's ice on the ground. Safety first. Right. And it was just the weirdest thing. I was like, once again, the devil angel popped up on my shoulder. He's like, hey, dipshit. There's other girls that aren't in fucking jail that have shoes. You don't have to do this. And I was kind of like, I think this will be the last time I drop you off, just so you know. I'm done doing this shit. And that's probably, I think that's the last time I've been to jail. It's the last time I dated a convict. So, straightened up, world.
Hey, man, good for you.
I've only been to the outside, but they were all for real occurrences. Fucking fun. Idiot. But yeah, so there's jail talk. Hey, I wanted to do a Halloween theme, and jail is pretty fucking scary. So
yeah, some spooky shit going on in there.
What movie is it? Is it in Role Models where they're trying to tell scary stories around the campfire, and then Paul Rudd's character goes, "You guys want to hear a scary story? Every year, millions of kids are caught and trafficked." That's all I'm gonna say. That's how I feel like we just did.
I love that. Millions of kids are caught and trafficked.
All right, that probably stop. I won't laugh so hard. Sorry.
Oh world. No, that's fun. I just like they're caught. Like a net.
So are you doing any costume parties? You doing any Halloween themed ideas, plans?
Nah. I got a shark costume.
No shit, really?
Yeah, it's like one of those like fuzzy onesies. I should be wearing it right now. It's got like a shark hood and everything. You put your like hands in it. You got little fins and shit. I was thinking about wearing it to work today, but it's gonna be really hot in there, so probably won't. But here's what happens to me.
Just wear it to work and take the bus. That'll be the best part.
Yeah, just. But my idea would be like, anytime I have an idea for a costume, I always want to be like a sad version of that. Like I want to be a sad shark just sitting there with like a hood on, like, fuck, I hate being a shark, like, I'm a fucking shark. This sucks. Like
a shark on unemployment.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I just want to get back out there,
like a shark, like with a briefcase and a watch around the fucking
I'm not gonna explain this to my kids. Fuck.
Just being like, I fucking hate my life. Gotta go to work. I'm fucking late. I'm gonna get canned.
It's funny that you want to be a depressed version of something, because honestly, like you're funny. You're not, you're not a bummer. I would play a good depressed anything, but not you.
I just think it's just funny to me. Like I always have, like when it comes around to Halloween, I always have ideas for Halloween costumes, but I never do them.
Right.
Like this year, I thought it'd be funny to dress up like the little bumblebee girl from that Blind Melon song.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But like be like a fat guy version of it and just be like a sad, like walk around in this like little girl like bee costume, and like have like a boombox that just is replaying like on repeat, playing that song, like walking around downtown, just blasting that song, and just being like a sad version of it and just walking around like, hey, how's it going?
Right.
Because in the video, she's all happy and shit, and it'd just be funny just to be like, just fucking bee.
And it would be, I picture it like that, but she wore black leggings, to you know, to show like the black bee legs. It'd be funny if you had like stockings, but they were down to your ankles. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Kind of like Robin Williams and Miss Doubtfire at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Worn out in a bee costume.
Yeah. Or like really tight and kind of ripped. Like
Yeah. Yeah. This is your hairy ankles and shit. Like,
yeah. And like, so I thought it'd be funny to wear that to work and then like drop people's food off all sad, a sad bee. Hey, how's it going? Who got the burger? Yeah. Just walk away.
but then there's like a sad sound. You walk away.
Yeah, like,
Yes. I'll right back with your ketchup. Fuck. I just kind of pictured you like a Halloween party guy. I figured you had a plan, but it doesn't sound like. And like people, I think America's pretty bummed out, and I don't think people are really giving a shit anymore. Come on, America, pep it back up. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really got any. Well, Callie and I are gonna go to the coast on Saturday, the Oregon coast. I'm gonna go to Lincoln City just for the night, hang out and get away, walk on the beach, throw the dog in the water, kind of thing, you know.
That's a big toss, man. That fucking ocean's out there.
I could throw her. She's not that heavy.
Seriously though, when you get to the beach, the Oregon beach, you've got to walk like how far to get to to touch the water?
I mean, depends on what, you know.
Well, the tide's at, but still, seriously,
but
if anybody watching this has seen Goonies, the water is out there.
Yeah, you have to, like, the beach is long, and you know, depending on the tide and everything, but yeah, it's out there.
Well, on the East Coast beaches, during the day when the tide's out, there's sand versus, I don't know, like half a football field, 50 yards, you know, of beach from the back to the, you know, that wide. When the tide comes in, nada, maybe 10 yards. Shit's drastically eroding, which is funny for people who bought beachfront property, but we're not going to get into that. In any case, yeah, and the Oregon coast is totally different. So it's just,
it is, yeah.
And I've heard about more people being eaten by sharks than I have had people having a good time in that water. Honestly, every story I've heard is some surfer getting bitten by some shark that thought they were still in Russia and came over to America and bit the shit out of somebody.
Well, it's cold water and it's pretty it's choppy.
Fuck yeah, yeah, it's not
choppy. So it just, yeah, there's always, you always hear that people get, because people surf in the Oregon coast. I feel like
they do in wetsuits.
Yeah, I've been surfing at the Oregon coast before in a wetsuit, and I guess it's pretty good waves because it is choppy and there are waves and there's a lot of them.
Right.
And most of them are small, so you could, like, it's good for beginners, I guess. So yeah, I've never heard of an in particular shark attack there, but I've always heard the same thing too, that a lot of people get bit over there.
Well, you think about it, there's not a lot of regular swimmers in the water, so sharks have few options. You know, if they see something dangling in the water, they're going for it. I mean, over here, there's a bunch of, you know, they're used to seeing a bunch of, you know, miserable people in the water taking poops and whatnot, so they're just like, fuck this, I'm not going. Poop content's too high. We talked about poop content. Even sharks are too much shit in the water. Sharks stay away, you know.
Right.
But Oregon's still pretty clean. They don't have a lot of people from New York and New Jersey going to shit in it for vacation. So nasty things.
Yeah.
There never are enough porta potties near the beach. There is there.
No. Well, I mean, the beach is just one, you know, that's what the water is there for, right?
I don't really dig it, man. Like, I don't really dig being in the water, in the ocean. I never really did. I think my dad, speaking of freaking each other out, my dad fucked with me when I was a kid. I don't know if I told this story. If I did, who gives a shit? In any case, here it is. Before I barely remember, we went out to a lake around here somewhere. We went in a canoe and Jaws had come out. And I don't know if I saw the movie. I think maybe I saw the movie, whatever it was. My dad was fucking hitting the side of the boat and I was in the middle, you know, like on my knees, just sitting there. And he was like hanging on it like there's a shark in the fucking water. And I was definitely young because I was too young to say the word Jaws correctly. I was saying Dawes. And he was like, you know, pounding on the boat. And I'm like, no more Dawes, Daddy, no more Dawes, no more Dawes. just scared the living shit out of me. And I remember being in the water. I remember when I was older, I remember seeing the movie. I remember this kid being on a yellow float, and I think it was yellow. In my head, it's always yellow. And that's the one where the kid gets his ass ripped up and the mom has no fucking idea in Jaws in the movie. Ironically, the first float that I got was yellow. And my mom's like, here you go, have fun in the ocean. I'm like, fuck this shit, no way, not going in there, no way, And so now and then I have that story where I got hit by a hammerhead shark when I was in the Marine Corps. And so every time I'm in the water now, I just always kind of like, did I see something over there? You know, I freak out.
Hit by a hammerhead shark? What do you mean?
I'm sure I told that story where I got bumped in the leg, and then they came back. That they left us out on it. Had some friends of ours. We were on the sandbar, and the sandbar is 2 feet deep in water all day until the tide comes in. And a bunch of broke ass young Marines. We had one boat and I don't know, at least 2 boatloads of people. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, all right, well, we can't get everybody, so you and you are staying here. And so they left us there with a football. That's it. And the fucking tide came in, and lo and behold, we found out that one of the dipshit driving the boat was drunk as shit and decided how fun it would be to throw it in reverse while they're going full speed forward. So, you know, like some people got hurt on the boat, blew the fucking motor. So we're out there, right? And they forgot. They were like, oh, like we left some people at the fucking sandbar. And so we didn't know this was going on. There's no phones or any of that shit really. So we're just throwing the football, and then the tide comes up to our chest, and we're like, we're kind of fucked here. And so the sun's going down, and then next thing I know, I get hit in the ankle, and I was like, that was weird. And then my buddy's like, he's like maybe 20 yards away. He's like, hey man, like something bumped into me. And I'm like, I was like, something bumped into me too. Yeah. He's like, we could be in deep shit. And I was like, yeah, I think we could be. And then he started talking, and he was like, you know, that bay over there, we're on our base, that's a breeding ground for hammerhead sharks. And hammerhead sharks bump things to get a sense of what they are before they attack, because they have that big fucking hammer on the front. They bite things, you know, they have a different bite radius, right? So they got to figure out what it is to see if they're going to get into it. So that happened, like, it happened one more time where I got hit and it took my feet out from under me. Whoa. And when they came to get us, it was you damn near couldn't see us, but the only reason they knew it was us is because they saw the buoy, and they saw the buoy kind of like hitting the water because we're hanging on either side of it, just waiting for somebody to come get us, because we saw a few fins and whatnot. They were definitely not circling. It wasn't that bad, but we were not in the right neighborhood. Right. And it was like, all right. And they came and got us, and they told us this whole fucking story, and it was just like, they told me, like, yeah, we got bit by, we got you know, hit by hammerhead sharks, and they're just like, oh, well, dipshit, you know, did this with the boat. And I was like, okay, no one cares, but it's really fucking scary. Yeah. So now every time I'm in the water, I just get these flashbacks. Or do you ever notice when you're I don't know if you go in the ocean a lot out there, but when I'm in the ocean around here, like you just feel stuff. Yeah. You know, you're like, whoosh, something goes past your leg. It could be a jellyfish, and I don't want anyone to have to piss on my leg to solve my problem. Right. So I get freaked out. Not a big fan. And there's no fucking waves anyway. What's the fun in swimming in shitty, dirty water? Like, with no waves. They're more fun at a fucking wave pool. So Hawaii ruined it. Hawaii is the best place to go swimming in waves. I'm sure. Well, I'm sure there's a million other places, but the American states probably one of the most beautiful places to go swimming. So that's about the only place you'll see me going swimming, because you can see shit in the water. You can see a shadow coming at you. You know, you're like, oh fuck, up.
Yeah, that's scary, man. I don't know if I've ever heard that story about the hammerhead. It's pretty wild.
I probably just tell it a lot and don't remember who was listening or who I told it to, whatever.
I would have been fucking flipping the fuck out. I would have been fucking losing it.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is that was the first. I have a picture where I decided I didn't want to pay for haircuts for a while, so I just bicked my head. Yeah. And like shiny bald. And that was the day I did it. And we went out there, no sunscreen, and just my shit was hot. Like, it was by that time of night, it was like, And so in the inspection on Monday, we had, you know, uniform inspection. They do a cover test where they grab your hat, and they jerk on that motherfucker. And if you lose military composure, then you get written up, and it's damage to government property. So that was more of a concern. And then the rumor got around where people were like, "Oh yeah, yeah, dickhead got bit. You know, he got hit by a shark or whatever. These idiots got hit by sharks." And so I just remember like some sergeant coming up to me and like, "Hey, I heard you got hit by a shark." And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Did it hit you in the head?" And he just went smack and like grabbed my head, like kind of like smacked it and grabbed it and rubbed it.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
like there was a white. My buddy was like, "There's a white handprint on your head," and I, like a pulse. It had a pulse. I was like. Like I didn't say a word. I was just like what's one of those cards like Roger Rabbit, like it does a tea kettle thing, he gets really hot and he's like, ah! That was me, man. Like I had a bell for a fucking little thing hanging. Oh wow. So that was a rough Monday, long story short. But no one gave a shit that I almost died by a shark.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, fuck you, pussy.
That's crazy. That's all right, man.
Yeah, that's actually where Gilligan's Island is in Kaneohe Bay, where they filmed it. No one even, Gilligan's Island. The actual island that they filmed is used for lab research or whatever the fuck. But yeah, that the island is in Kaneohe Bay off Oahu. It's the same bay where hammerhead sharks breed. Fun fact. There you go. I could have died on Gilligan's Isle. That would have been cool. My dad would have been happy about that. Like, we fucking died at Gilligan's Island. I mean, shit. What could a guy more ask for? I mean,
who gets that? I mean, that's a
even
lucky
Gilligan
guy.
didn't go and die on Gilligan's Island. I mean, shit. He would have liked that.
He would have liked that. Funny. Oh man. All right. Well, I think it's about time to talk about music, huh, Tony?
Sick. That sounds good to me, man.
All right. Well, this is my pick. So I picked Tenacious D.
Yep.
Pick of Destiny, the soundtrack to the movie. And this is something I've definitely heard it before. Saw the movie when it came out in theater, but it's been a while. So it almost felt new in a way.
Yeah.
Because it's been a long time since I've listened to this to Tenacious D or this this album. So yeah, it's fun. It's a mix of it's comedy. Jack Black is he's awesome. I love Jack Black. He's a fucking maniac. He's got a good voice. He's got an excellent voice, but the way he all the noises that he makes, it's really funny, and the storyline to the album.
Yes, and his lyrics are fucking hilarious. Like the way he rhymes shit together.
Yeah,
that gets me going. I don't know whoever came up with them. They're really fucking funny.
Yeah,
I know they write together. So
yeah, but all the things that he says are just like random, like chicken chow mein and loosey goosey, like all these like all these fucking
and a chicken supreme and a cutlass supreme supreme.
Just saying anything that has supreme in it.
It doesn't. It's like it's such a joke band. It's so cool that they pulled it off, but then they also rock, which is crazy because they have like anyway, sorry, go ahead.
And it's a fun album. It's just it's a good time. It's something you could put on, just kind of
right,
laugh, and these songs are easy to know. They're easy to sing along with. And
yes, they are.
Yeah, it's fun. Some of my favorites are the first one, Kickapoo. I think it's really funny. And what one is this? Oh yeah, The Government Totally Sucks. It's fucking awesome.
You like that one?
I love that one.
Government totally sucks, motherfucker. He was like, why do you have to call us a motherfucker?
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. I love that. That was probably that one, and the Sasquatch one is probably definitely my favorite.
You're my little baby sass.
Yeah, you're my little baby sass.
Can I be a Sasquatch too? You gotta be on some fucking weed for this shit, man. This shit is crazy. What else? Any other songs on there jump out at you?
Dude, I Totally Miss You. That one's fucking awesome. The Metal and Pod, Pick of Destiny.
Yes, right. I think you've pretty much that all the ones that are like, most of them are, which are actually, mine are probably the same list. Kickapoo, Master Exploder.
Oh
Love
yeah.
that one. Well, there's some jams in here too, like some fucking rock and shit, like tribute, you know, like the Sabbath and stuff. It's in there. It's metal. There's definitely some metal shit in there. So Master Exploder, and if you watch the movie, Master Exploder is fucking hilarious to me because that's where they're having the dream, and Kyle Gass is playing the double legs guitar, and then I mean, come on, that's not in anything else I've seen. That's hilarious. It reminds me of This Is Spinal Tap. It kind of,
it definitely has that feel for sure. 100%.
Right, it's like a rock comedy movie. It's fucking weird. But those two, what's the other one? Beelzebub. They rock out in that one. Pick of Destiny. And then so the story that I have about this one is, and I'm not bragging here, so if you want to judge me on this shit, go ahead. But where I was at in my life when I was Jesse, my daughter was like 3 to 4. I was just as ignorant, maybe a little more ignorant than I am now, but I played this shit all the time in the car. Long story short, didn't give a fuck. Only today did I realize how much Jack Black says the word fuck. So going back, if I were trying to be a considerate parent, yeah, okay, I fucked that up, but whatever. So I remember we picked up my mom one time to visit, and I don't know if the song was playing or not, but I taught my daughter, I said, hey, what song is it? It's Kickapoo. My Jessie could sing Kickapoo, the whole fucking thing. She could sing it all.
Nice.
And there's a part where he says fuck or something, and my mom's like, oh my God, she's really good with these lyrics, but she wouldn't say fuck. And so I told her, like, just say effing instead. So she'd be, I think she's like 3 years old in the back of the car, she'd be like, a long ass effing time ago in a time, like a 3-year-old, like a long ass effing time ago. I'm like, yeah.
That's awesome.
Like, she really knows this song. Oh my gosh, she knows the whole fucking album.
Yeah. So she knows the whole effing album. You know?
She knows the whole effing album. It's like, it's good. She's like, it's good she doesn't say the cuss words. I'm like, yeah, not the ones I told her not to say for while you're here anyway.
Yeah, when you're not here.
Yeah, exactly. She was coached. But the one, this isn't funny, but this album is actually like our album because this is the one that we've known together the longest. And now that we don't see each other as much because she lives on the West Coast, dude, like that's our song.
That's your
and
shit.
Even in there, like the lyrics aren't literal for us or anything like that, but I mean it's pretty fucking valid. Totally miss you, that kind of horse shit. So sometimes I'll just send her that song, you know, when you miss your kid. But I gotta say something. I'm really fucking proud of the fact that that's the song I send my kid when I miss her, and she gets it and sends something to that effect back to me. Like, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about that, but right on, man. I'm happy about, you know what I mean? It's like, cool, that's our thing. Bonus. You know, I don't have to listen to fucking Britney Spears record or anything. I didn't train her that way. So that's awesome. Good for me.
No, dude, that's fucking rad. And you're lucky to have that like connection and that bond. That's fucking rad to have that. And she likes good, you know, she likes some good shit. She has good taste. And so good job on that.
Well, yeah, if you start shoving this music down kids' throats when they're young, they don't have a choice. So by the time they start picking their own stuff, they already like some shit that you brought them up on. So anybody with young kids, definitely get them into what you're into, so you don't have to listen to too much of the shit you don't like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to have to watch Cinderella 1,000 times between the ages of 2 and 5 to get the kid to go to bed, and you know how to sing the Cinderella song better than she does at the over the age of 40. That sucks. But at least I really don't know any Hanson songs. I don't know any Britney Spears or any of that horse shit. So totally fucking happy about that. But that says something to this album, that it can be goofy as shit. It can hit really hard for rock songs. And there's a song in here that brings an emotional response. Like people actually send that to other people, be like, hey, I'm thinking about you. Like, that's a Tenacious D song. Like, yeah, exactly. You know, it's fucking cool. That's a good album right there, honestly, you know?
Yeah.
A good rock album isn't just tearing it up. There's also some heartfelt shit in there, you know? Like when we listened to Sabbath and Changes was on there. That's how I look at this album. but with Dude on there.
Right.
I like that same emotional shit. Pretty cool. So
Yeah,
good pick, man.
that's a good way to look at that. I like that. I picked this album A because I like it, and B because it has a Dio connection, and we've been kind of on that Rainbow, and then Black Sabbath, and you know, on that kind of kick. So it's
Well, and the major connection. I mean, he's in. What is he? He sings on this twice, doesn't he? He's in Kickapoo.
Yeah, I think it's the first two. It's definitely Kickapoo, but yeah, I think I might.
Yeah, he's in there a few times. I think he does the voice of the devil, but I'm not 100%.
Okay.
When they're rocking out in Beelzebub's.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's in this thing.
And didn't he die during the making of the movie or after?
I know it was right around there. I don't have my facts down 100%, but I know it was right around that time.
It's just cool for Jack Black and Kyle Gass to like. I know Jack Black for sure. For one, like that was his deal. Was his like favorite.
Right.
It was his favorite, and they got well known enough, and he was famous, and then he got to like have Dio on one of his albums and one of his movies, and got to hang out and meet him, and then he passed away very shortly after. So that's cool for Jack Black, right? Like,
oh yeah,
that's awesome. Everybody wants, like you're well known enough to have your idol to collaborate with you.
Well, and I mean, he's in the movie, so he brought him back into the mod. He brought him back one more time for mainstream to see him, kind of thing, and just turn kids on to him who didn't know who he was.
Right.
That only helped.
Yeah.
As far as Dio's catalog goes, so people were able to know who the fuck this guy was, and he's in the movie. You can see him. I think it's funny. We're not directly talking about the movie, but it's also in Kickapoo that Meatloaf is the one singing all the lyrics about how rock is the devil's music, and he's supposed to be the religious enforcer. And of course, I'm not a Meatloaf fan. Don't get me wrong, I'm not. The coolest thing about them was the album cover for the motorcycle riding out of hell. That was about it, because I do not like Meatloaf. And it always fucked me up.
Meatloaf. I think Meatloaf's fucking awesome.
You like Meatloaf, like the band? I mean, like you like him?
Yeah. It's fucking rad. Yeah, dude. That guy can fucking sing.
No, I'm not saying that, but I just mean like no, just like the food Meatloaf. I like it, but I don't tell people. And it's like I kind of like him I kind of like the song. What's the really famous song they talk about, like trying to, like they're having sex and then there's an actual, like somebody hits a home run like in the song. And I've heard that song just way too many fucking times. And I associated rock and roll with rebelliousness. And then I just see this doughy guy who's just like, I'm like, yeah, he belts out a tune, but it just never did it for me. Like he's never like a headbanger type guy. It was more just like he's a singer, and it was a rock singer is how I saw it.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, it's just funny to me. Like he's in there singing this shit. Like, dude, you're definitely like a rocker. Like the irony was great. I love the irony of that part of Meatloaf. So for those of you who don't know what the fuck we're talking about, there's definitely a few famous musicians that are on the soundtrack and also in the movie.
Dave Grohl was on this one too, or was it their other album?
Play the drummer.
Yeah,
I really don't know what I don't know. I know that as far as on the album, you have those two that we talked about. You have Dio and Meatloaf. And then I think the band that plays in there, I know that when Tenacious D tours, they use Kyle Gass's band Trainwreck,
right?
As the musicians. And then the guy that's in the movie that plays their friend, he's one of the main. He plays the devil in the live shows. Not that any of this matters, but I'll just say this about Tenacious D. I've seen them twice, and they're a fun show.
Seen them together one time at Sasquatch.
Okay, it had to be at Sasquatch. That was where I was like, well, I wasn't sober, and it took me a long time, longer than anyone else, to realize, number one, that the new album Rise of the Phoenix was actually a play on words to mean Rise of the Penis. Yeah. And they had a big turkey chicken looking thing at the end of the show that inflated like a soft dick that got hard. I didn't get any of that. I was just like,
it was a phoenix. There's a big red phoenix, and then
but at the end of the show, it blew up like it looked like a big veiny dick. that's exactly what it looked like, but I was not in the mindset to figure that out. And I saw like confetti shooting out the end. I'm like, why would confetti shoot out the end of a chicken? That doesn't make any, or a phoenix. Would that make any sense? I think it was you that was like, it's
Like
a big dick. And I was like, oh, like, aha, eureka. Like you had to point out, like, no, it's a big dick. I was like, oh, I said this big, like the rest of Sasquatch. I was like, that was a big dick on stage. Huh. Just got fucked me up. I kind of stayed there for a while mentally. And then the second time, Jesse really wanted to see them. So we took them. This is kind of funny. They had they had another album out. This is their most recent one. And everyone usually goes see a band, you go to see the hits. Well, they decided to make a new album with a concept. And they said, we have this new album. It's a new concept and we're going to do it for you. And so people I went with, including Jesse, we're all standing there and they play the first song and nobody knows it. The same thing. We're all looking around and we're like, are they going to play this whole fucking album? Like everyone started to get this vibe of like that. And then they finished the album. They had a cool show for it and everything. Like it was like they played the music along to videos. It was really neat. And then, and everyone was like, yay. And then they were like, okay, now for the greatest hits portion. And everyone was like, yes, like, thank God. Oh shit. We all thought this was it. Fuck. Like everyone, you could tell, even the people that were working that night were like, oh, cool. They're going to play something we know. Because they spent the first 50 minutes playing nothing. No one knew what it was because it was a brand new album. It was just so cool to be like, great, I'm not the only asshole who wasn't really into that. And now they're gonna give us what we came for. I thought that was rad. I remember just like kind of like Jesse was heavier than, but I was kind of like trying to pick her up. like, you want to see it? She's like, get off me, fucker. I get it. Like, oh, my bad. But it was they played the greatest hits portion. I'd prefer it better if a band just like that was cool what they did, but a band usually sprinkles in their new album to where you almost don't notice. Like they played a couple songs from the new album, and then you look up the set list and realize you heard probably the whole album. They just mixed it in really well. Well, Tenacious D didn't do that because it was a concept album.
Yeah, so, they played it all the way through.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, they're a fun fucking show to catch if you're into that kind of stuff. You want a night of entertainment. Kyle Gass, we didn't give him any credit. We haven't talked about him, but he is the second half of Tenacious D. He's fun. I think he's funny. He's actually, aside from music, I mean, the man can play. If you follow him on Instagram, he's a great fucking guitar player. I actually got to open for their band Trainwreck. I was horrible, but still it was neat. He signed a poster for Jessie and left the E off at the end of her name. And she was just like, in her own way, she's like, fuck Kyle Gass. And I was like, but I got you an autographed poster, man. I mean, she's like, you couldn't tell him to put the E on the end? I'm like, it's fucking Kyle Gass. I'm not telling him how to spell anything.
Right. Wait, he just like wrote Jess or something?
Jessi.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it makes the same noise at the end. It's fine. Jesse,
Listen, if people spell my name with a fucking I, I get mad. All right. I'm not mad, but still, that ain't how you spell my name. So I get where the kid's coming from. She's like me. She's full of piss and vinegar with a smile. I totally get it. So it was just like, so yeah, that poster went in the trash eventually, but still, it wasn't a big deal. I mean, it wasn't like it was just like all it said was just like a heart with Jessi on or some shit. I don't know. We didn't throw it away, but we moved enough times to where it didn't make it.
Right.
But in any case, they're fun. They're fun fucking people, man. Both of I did not meet Jack Black by any means, but Kyle Gass is a real nice dude. And every time I watch Elf and I see him in Elf, I laugh. If you don't know who the fuck I'm talking about and you're watching this and you know Elf, Kyle Gass he's bald, he's overweight, and he's one of the writers for the children's books. He's one of those two guys in the movie. He's got a significant role. So if you're watching that movie, that's him.
He's got a couple scenes and he's in other movies. I mean, he's an actor too.
Oh, he is. He's legit. It's just that Jack Black was the one that, took off. And
Jack Black's the star. Right.
But in any case, fun album, great pick, dude. And
man.
Yep. So we tried to not to be too fucking weird. It's not like I'm a third grade English teacher or anything trying to have fun with the students, but tried to keep it theme oriented as far as Halloween goes. So we gave you some spooky shit, like mentally fucked up shit to think about this week, which is always our goal. And then, so I wanted to go with a soundtrack that emulated something spooky about Halloween. I picked my favorite, one of my favorite soundtracks of all time, The Devil's Rejects soundtrack, based upon Rob Zombie's second movie. Anyway, Devil's Rejects is the second film in the series. I don't know, what is that series with, I don't know the series, whatever the fuck. If you know what I'm talking about, great. Look it up. The soundtrack that we're talking about is of course, with all the classic rock. We're not talking about the movie score or anything like that. So what we're going to talk about next week is basically a kick-ass playlist of awesome 60s and 70s tunes that Rob Zombie put in his movie. And if you, sorry.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say, you can find it on streaming platforms. We use iTunes. I use iTunes. Tony uses the Spotify. And yeah, if you just type it in, The Devil's Rejects, the soundtrack, the album, it'll be there. So
yeah, to be clear, the reason that we're going into this and talking to you is because it was difficult for us to both find it today to make sure that we could offer.
Yeah, but it just turned out I'm just kind of an idiot, and so that's really
well. And in any case, if those listening actually decide to follow along, you want to follow along to this one, it is just so it can help you find it. There's a couple when you type this shit in. If you on Spotify, it's The Devil's Rejects, and then soundtrack is in parentheses,
parentheses. Yeah.
Thank you. Parentheses. I had it right the first time. Good. There's should be 14 tracks on it, to be clear. And the last song should be I'm at home getting hammered while she's out getting nailed. That's right, folks. It's on there. And that's a great fucking jam, by the way. It's a fucking catchy song. So yeah, we'll be talking about that next week. Anything else, Alex?
No, man, we're good.
Cool. Well, once as always, we would like to thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button, let people know what you're into. We appreciate it. And thanks very much. You guys have a great fucking holiday weekend. I'd tell you to be safe, but hey, fuck it. Have fun. That's a
don't
big
be
thing.
safe. Yeah,
it's Halloween.
Dangerous. Do whatever you want. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. Just don't end up in a Mexican prison. That's all.
Unless you want to.
The boombox. That was funny. Anyway, all right. Can you tell me? All right. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.